I just wanted to welcome everybody, say hi, and thank you all for coming. Give a special thanks to our volunteers and all the people who donated raffles or any kind of food or anything. We really appreciate it. Feel free to help yourself at any time. Sorry, I'm having trouble breathing. My asthma's acting up. Check out our resources table. We have a ton of information and helpful things for everybody. And take what you like. There's bags over there, so you don't have to worry about carrying it around. This is Emily.
You good?
Yeah,
you
I'm good. I can't breathe.
Okay. My name is Emily Hamilton, and we met about 12 years ago now through the support group. We had about 3 people.
Yeah, I was the second one in because I was talking to 2 other people about starting a group because there was no info around for EDS. So I'm not tech savvy whatsoever. So she started the group for me, added me, and then I think Emily was like the 5th person or something in. Like that. And that's how we ended up meeting.
So we've now grown the group to over 1,600 members. It's mostly Kentuckiana, but there's some in Tennessee, Ohio.
It's the surrounding states. Unless there's a specific reason, a personal message me, like, I live in such and such, but my daughter is moving there for college, can I join the group so I can get her resources? So.
Okay, so bear with me. I had thyroid cancer, and that surgery was December 31st, so I'm still newly trying to adjust medications, and the medication causes me to have panic attacks and anxiety, so I will do my best to bear with me. So I wanted to first mention that I want to encourage everyone to watch the documentary Bend or Break. It's an award-winning EDS documentary. Even if you do not have EDS, people that have a chronic illness can definitely identify with it, because it talks about how when you have a chronic illness, you tend to gaslight yourself because you don't want to actually have that condition. So you just try to push through. And I think that documentary is a really good kind of explanation of what I've personally been through in my life. And I think it was well put together. So I encourage everyone to watch it. I want to mention also that with the nonprofit, we have a new shirts coming around the mid-March for Ehlers-Danlos Awareness Month, which is in May. Through everything Kellie and I go through in our personal lives and in our health, we always show up. We saw this devotion in Doug, so we added him to the team. We have never had to have a board meeting on how to love people or meet them where they are. That's just what we do.
And shout out to Doug. He likes to stay behind the scenes, but he's here and he's a rock star.
Yeah, he adds awesome. A lot. He adds a lot. So we know how you feel, and if we had the capability, we would take your pain away. I want to thank my husband and my family for supporting me in creating this nonprofit. Without their support, I wouldn't be where I am today. And my husband has stayed up for hours, like cutting out little things for our tables and making sure the vision is what I want it to be.
Yeah, our families are amazing because without them helping us, we wouldn't be able to help you guys. So my husband took 2 days off. My son is over here doing all the tech stuff. Her husband stayed up late getting all the stuff prepared to put out. And without our families helping us, we wouldn't be able to do what we do to help you guys.
And here's the part where I'm probably going to cry, so. Okay, growing up, my mom.
You're okay.
My mom always knew that something was kind of off medically. However, I wasn't diagnosed till I was 20. She threw me in the car to take me to the ER countless times with no answers. Through many doctor's appointments, many times sitting after countless surgeries, just so I could have some sort of normalcy in a hospital. Okay. She believed in me when I was a little girl, And now she not only believes in me, but she believes,
Sorry.
she believed me when I was a little girl, meaning she believed that I had some ailments going on. She believed, because there was a ton of people that did not believe that my medical things were real. And now she believes in me to touch people with what I've been through. Just about every 2 to 3 days, I have someone calling me about a crazy surgery that they're about to go through that they hear that I've been through. I could probably make like a whole YouTube series on like thoracic surgeries and all kinds of things. And many emails that I receive within the nonprofit are from moms. Moms desperate for their children to get a proper diagnosis so they can receive care. Moms who need advice on how to help their children with pain. Moms who themselves need a proper diagnosis so they can better understand their bodies to take better care of their children. In all that we do, we will continue to support and fight for you, our children, and your children. So let's give a quick round of applause to my mom, medical professionals, caregivers, and families that support the rare disease community. I did it, you guys.
So now it's my turn. Go ahead. And that's why I was holding off on my story. When my son was diagnosed, and I know I'm going to choke up here too, I was basically told, he has this, good luck, have a good time. I was like, well, I don't even know what this is, and it's EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. But how do you tell that to someone and then say, good luck, and walk away? So I know it tore me up, and I couldn't find any medical professionals in the state that even knew pediatric-wise, because he was 4 years old, not even. And so I was like, this isn't okay. And so I basically made it my mission that even if a doctor doesn't know what EDS is, like how to help it, they at least have heard of it to know who to send someone to. And so then I met up with Emily after starting the group. We collaborated because she felt the same way. And we just grew our support group from there. Then we started doing medical professional recommendations and things like that, because you all know medical gaslighting is a real thing. And doctors a lot of times don't like me because I'll tell them, like, you remember that it's called practicing medicine because you haven't mastered anything. There's always something more to learn. And so we started working with Patrick and Jennifer, with Nord, and doing different things with them, just spreading the word. And then Jonathan's orthopedic decided to open up a connective tissue clinic in her office. So that's pediatric. But on the adult side, because I wasn't diagnosed until I was 32 after he got diagnosed, there was really no help for that. So for genetic testing anyway, so me and Emily decided that's what our nonprofit needs to do. People who can't get genetic testing, can't find a doctor to do it because you've aged out of where they are. So that way you can have genetic testing. Well, it's not cheap, but that's where our nonprofit would step in, and you do financial assistance, and then we step in and we make that payment. Because to get a proper diagnosis, you will get better treatment for yourself, because you just never know for sure without testing what it actually is. So I've seen time and time again in our group and outside our group. People think they have one thing, they start doing treatments for it, but then they actually have something else, and those treatments either did nothing to help or could actually hurt them, and that's not what we need. So that's why we started the nonprofit and brought Doug on, because he had the same vision as us. And we just are spreading the word. We'd appreciate if everybody else could spread the word for it. Get our name out there, because we're looking to help as many people as we can. And, we're not taking a paycheck for this whatsoever. This is just done out of passion, because we know how it felt when it was just like a good luck thing, and we did not want others to feel like that. So that's how we came to do our nonprofit and everything. So, but on that note, I'm going to have our first speaker come up. He is he is Robert, and he is with NORD, and he is a fantastic man who is very knowledgeable about many things. So, come on, Robert.
All right, how's everybody doing? All right, so before I start, I want to give Kelly, Emily, and Doug, let's give them a round of applause for getting it set up today for everybody. This was great. Obviously, I'm with NORD. NORD is short for National Organization for Rare Disease. I am the Kentucky ambassador for them. Took over for Patrick and Jennifer, who are in attendance today, sitting there in the Tennessee orange. But just a real short story about myself, why I got involved, and things of that nature. In 2015, I was really sick. I was sick, but didn't know how sick I was. And just to keep it real short, I was sick, got hospitalized for 6 days. Like all my major organs were failing. Kidney was failing. Heart was failing. Everything was going haywire. Kidneys were working and maybe at less than 10% at the time. I had to get on dialysis for about 3 or 4 months. But doctors didn't know what was going on. And as Kelly mentioned, the only thing that you can really find out what's going on with you is going through a genetics test. It isn't cheap at all, but good insurance will take care of that as well. So did a genetics test, and after a while, we finally figured out, all right, he kind of ruled out lupus and things of that nature, and then found out I have AHUS, which is short for typical hemolytic uremic syndrome. It's something that you're born with. It's not activated until something in your body it's like a switch. If it just turns on and you can't turn it off. So I look healthy, but I get infusions, every 8 weeks. They're at home, which is nice. So real simple story about why I got involved with NORD, why I advocate not only for myself, for others. Just want to try and support anybody and everybody that I can. But with NORD and why I'm here, if you go to rarediseases.org, there are patient assistance programs available, as well as caregiver aid and resources for everyone, not only in this state, but for most of the states in America. Like I said, just want to advocate and try to help support anybody that I can, not only for, AHUS, but any rare disease that you or a loved one may have. My goals really for the year, we had an RDAC started, Rare Disease Advisory Council. I believe we need that here in Kentucky just to try to help out the rare disease community. Would love to try to get that back up and running. And I know it's probably expired, so I probably need to go to the Capitol and speak to someone about that. But just try to connect more in the state of Kentucky. Just try to help out. I'm only one man, but like I say, Emily and Kelly have been a great help to everybody, especially for me. I'm a high school basketball coach as well. So I'm always trying to support kids, always trying to be involved in the community, especially in my community in the small town of Maysville, if you know where it's at. But I always try to get around the state, try to help each other out. The main thing I would say to leave here with is support. Support everybody. Support everyone. I think everybody here, could use a little support with anything that they're going on in life. All right. There's a lot of mental things that are going on as well. You may have a rare disease, and I know it's more physical, but mentally, you have to make sure you have the right support system around you. I know I have one. I have a family. I have a wife. I have my kids. They keep me busy enough. But it's good to have a great support system around you and your family. So if you do, great. If you don't, reach out to me. I will gladly sit and talk and listen to you and help you out in any way that I can. So I don't have a table set up, but if you need anything, just come and see me, after everyone gets speaking, and I can be a resource to you, your family, whatever that you need. Okay, thanks.
So our next speaker is going to be Sarah. Everybody say hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
There you go. Everybody's falling asleep. What's going on?
It kind of looks like me. My hair's just a different color now. Sorry. I get bored in the winter. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. My name's Sarah. I'm from Louisville Metro Government, so happy to make the trip and be here today. Some of the similar things that we've heard from our first two speakers, I'm going to touch on a little bit, but it just shows really the importance of everything that we're all here for today and what we're going to talk about. But I want to take a moment to honor some of the most courageous people that I have met in our Commonwealth, those living with diseases and the families and caregivers who walk beside them every day. So we've already seen so many, and I do want to recognize a couple more. Rare diseases may be rare in name, but their impact is anything but small. Every day in Louisville, our Office for Aging and Disabled Citizens talk with families facing challenges that most of us really can't imagine without it. Navigating the complex medical systems, shouldering the emotional and financial burdens, and advocating tirelessly for care that is often very hard to find. Over the last 2 years, I've followed the journey, the successes, and the struggles of a strong mother-daughter duo, and I lost her back there somewhere. My colleague Stacy is here today, joining her daughter Emily, who you met a minute ago, and I often get to hear the pride and the joy that Stacy has for Emily as she finds success and her purpose at the Kentuckiana Connective Tissue Foundation. But sometimes that fear and worry really take hold when she's waiting to hear test results, hear how doctor's visits went, knowing there's an upcoming surgery and how that's going to happen. And as a mother of two teenage daughters, I know that strength is not measured by the absence of struggle. But for Stacy and Emily and many others like them, it's measured in the steadfast persistence through it. To the individuals battling rare illnesses, you are not alone, as he said there. Your courage inspires us. Your resilience reminds us what truly matters: community, compassion, and an unwavering hope. And to the caregivers, parents, siblings, spouses, friends who give love around the clock, your work, though it is often unseen and unnoticed, is invaluable. You're the quiet heroes, making life possible, meaningful, and always filled with dignity. But that admiration is not enough. Here in the Commonwealth and everywhere, we must continue to educate. Tell your story, because a lot of people have not heard of a lot of these diseases, and I spoke of that earlier. I have a family member with one, and if you ask me to tell you the name of it, it is this long, and there's not a really great acronym for it. But tell those stories. Ask for help. Much like our Louisville office, there are other local and state offices across Kentucky meeting people and families where they are and helping to find resources and services so they can continue their journey with purpose and stability. If you're here today from Jefferson County, my coordinator, Greg Willett. Greg, say hi. There's Greg. He has brought some information that's back on the table to share, including information on our commission in Jefferson County, as well as an 80-plus page resource guide on local resources in the area. We must advocate for services and for programs, attend community meetings. During the upcoming election season, ask those candidates, whether your town is big or small, ask them the hard questions that are really important to you. Ask them, about expanded access to care, funding for research, legislation that eases financial burdens for your family. Join your local or community boards or commissions and really be able to start to make a change in your community. Every little bitty step, it might seem, like the low-hanging fruit, but at the end of the day, it only advances the need that's there, and it does make a difference in the long run. And lastly, we must act. We must build networks where patients and caregivers can find trusted information, emotional support, and most importantly, each other. Let us promise today and every day to be a place where every person battling a disease has a voice, has resources, and has a community behind them. And let us show that in Kentucky, no one has to face their journey alone. Thank you.
I am Roger Davis. I'm the manager of therapy services at Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center with Owensboro Health. I was asked to speak today by Emily because I treated her for a while, and much like many of the other patients who found their way to me, I've kind of found a niche in being able to treat patients with complex conditions and considerations. These weren't necessarily the patients I ever thought I was going to treat when I came out of school, but they always seem to find their way to me, and somehow I'm able to help them. And I think a lot of that is what I'm going to talk about today, of just kind of the considerations you need to look for in providers as you navigate all of this. So most of the patients came to me in that situation were basically dismissed by their other providers, just really not listened to or anything like that. And that's something you've really got to fight for, is find providers who are going to listen to you and truly understand what you're going through. That way they can do a more thorough evaluation and assessment and try to figure out exactly how they can help you, or at least push you to other providers who can. So in my experience, what has worked the best for these patient populations is a combination of things, because every patient's different, so you need to make sure that you're getting the treatment that works best for you. When people think physical therapy, they often think of just exercise, strengthening, stretching, those type of things. And while that's needed to help load the tissues and desensitize some things and calm down certain aspects of the pain and sensations one might be feeling, that's not the only thing you can do. I get a lot of feedback from patients who tell me that they feel like their providers are afraid to touch them, and so that affects the ability to properly assess somebody, and in some cases, the ability to properly treat them as well. So in my experience, a lot of the hands-on things that I do, whether it be soft tissue massage or joint mobilizations, can be really valuable to helping to regulate some of those pain and symptoms that patients have. I think Emily will attest to this, that there are certain, procedures and interventions that I perform that not everybody's keen on. One of them is dry needling, but there are people who will tell you that dry needling is wonderful. And there's definitely a time and a place for it, so if you can find a provider who can provide something like that for you, definitely seek that out. If you're afraid of needles and want to look at other things, like I said, the hands-on joint manipulations and things like that I do can be valuable, but also instrumented soft tissue massage, which also sounds kind of scary to some people because we use a literal instrument to work the tissues. But the good thing about that is that we can control the depth and aggressiveness of what we're doing and keep that to the patient tolerance so that they're getting relief from that as well. In those situations, it still requires a lot of feedback. I need patients to tell me what they're feeling so I can make sure I cater it to their needs and give them the relief they want. And with any of those interventions, there's a lot of trial and error to make sure that we can cater it to each specific individual's needs. Kind of got off, went off the cuff instead of by my paper here. So just to kind of conclude, the biggest thing is seek people who are going to listen to you, who are going to give their best effort, and who are going to have compassion and empathy with it. I've definitely upset some providers in the past by trying to advocate for my patients or defend my patients when they were advocating for themselves. Don't let that deter you. And if you've got providers who are resistant to that, find somebody who can. Everybody's already talked about the networking and things like that. There's resources. Seek any and all opportunities to go down those avenues, because if somebody's had good luck with certain providers, they're probably going to be able to help you out as well. So I'll wrap up with that, and if anybody has any questions afterwards, I'll be here to answer and give some insights if you have any questions for me. So thank you all.
Okay, pop quiz time for a giveaway. A Rare Disease Day shirt, like we're wearing. Who can tell me how many people worldwide live with a rare disease?
300 million.
Yes, you get the t-shirt.
I was going to use that in my comments. You just stole it from me.
Well, it was on the board. What could I say? Making sure people are paying attention. Everything around is around for a reason. So, but our next speaker is Ben. Say hi to Ben. Hi, Ben. There you go.
I kind of feel like I should put this on. Can everybody hear me okay? I don't do well in front of microphones. My name is Ben Keeton. For the past 19 years, I have worked with patient advocacy organizations and helping to support legislation that I broadly deem or call patient access to care. So for the most part, I'm working on issues that are removing barriers for people who need access to care, to treatment, whether that's medication, diagnostics, a lot of the things that we're talking about today. I was actually going to talk about the 300 million number because I do find it interesting that we call it rare disease when 300 million people suffer from rare diseases. So I don't like to think about it as rare disease. I know that the individual components underneath there, largely impact a small community, but combined, we are a very large community, and our voice needs to be heard. So the thing that I really want to talk about today, and I'm going to keep my remarks very brief, what I really want to talk about today is, first of all, congratulate every single person here for showing up. Something that Emily said in her remarks when she opened up the conversation was, part of the first part of the battle is showing up, and that is no different. Whether you're advocating for yourself in a physician's office, whether you're advocating for yourself with your family or within the community, or what I'm going to talk about, which is advocating with government officials. The one part that everybody needs to pay attention to what's going on at the local government. I'm not going to get into politics today. We're in a very divided community right now. It's just the way it is. I don't like reading the newspaper every morning, but yet it's very important for me. Because what is decided largely at the state level, since health insurance is largely dictated at the state level, what is decided right across the hall over there will largely impact every single person in this room. And whatever your politics are, I will tell you one thing, legislators care about their constituents. They want to hear from you. Oftentimes, every member that is sitting over there in the Capitol Annex right now is a part-time legislator. This is not their full-time job. They did not study to do this. They did not, this is not what they do all the time. Oftentimes, you'll hear in committee meetings, they will say, I'm a farmer, I'm a banker, I'm a teacher, what have you. What they want to do is to pass laws that will positively impact people specifically people that have rare diseases or people that are struggling to work with that within the healthcare system. Trust me, they want to hear from you. And because you all have the lived experience and can share that with them, they want to hear it from you. So it's really important for organizations like NORD and EDS to be vocal from an organizational standpoint, but I really want to encourage every single person in this room to develop a relationship with your legislator, with any legislator that will have you in their office and talk about it, and to simply share your experience. We're not going to win every single battle. We're not going to get every single bill passed that we want. If I could wave a magic wand, healthcare would be free, everybody would have healthcare, medication would be free, all that sort of stuff. We have a lot of work to do, but all of this work is a one foot in front of the other, and that really does take everybody in this room being willing to go sit down, meet with the legislator. They are not scary people. They want to hear from you. They want to interact with you. They want to ask questions. And over the last 10, 15 years, we've been able to get meaningful legislation move forward that many thought we couldn't have happen. I remember, I can't remember if it was Emily or Kellie was talking about, how you all support making sure that genetic testing is affordable to everybody.
Yes.
Until 5 years ago, if you were to go and get a genetic test and have somebody else pay for it, that money would not go towards your deductible, and so it wouldn't count towards your overall healthcare expenses, which means you'd still have additional money that you would have to spend until you reach your deductible. Our goal is to make healthcare as affordable as possible. We want to put in less barriers to making sure that that happens. Things like step therapy, prior authorization, these are all things that because the advocacy community came together, educated legislators about this, supported legislators as they were moving this forward, we now have friendlier laws in Kentucky that allow people to have better access to the new and innovative treatments that are coming down the road. So I just want to leave you all with the your voice matters, so please use it. Your collective voice is really important, but the individual voice is really strong as well. So don't be afraid, come to Frankfurt. If you ever need help, feel free, Kellie and Emily can put you in touch with me. I'm always happy to help empower people. My voice does not matter here. Your all's voice matters here. And so whatever I can do to help support that, we're more than happy to do that. So please, please, please get active and have your voice heard. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciate you speaking because, what you do is important. everything I've shown up to, you've been at. So I just thank you for showing up. One thing, we have people that showed up a little late. If we could condense in to try to make open space so people can be able to sit as well, I'd appreciate it, if that's possible. I also wanted to share quick, based on something that Ben had mentioned. My son, when he was younger, needed a certain test, and he had to have oral surgery, and he needed a certain medication for it. And the insurance company was like, well, no, he doesn't need that brand. He needs this brand, the generic one. And I was like, no, he can't, because I spoke to his doctor, and his doctor was like, absolutely not. One of the things in the brand name they don't have in the generic one, and it won't work. Like, that's something totally different. Yes, it technically does the same, but what he needed it for, it was different. So I called back the insurance company, and they argued with me. His doctor told me to call him three-way, so I did. They were arguing on the phone. Finally got it to go through and got it okayed. And I asked, who made the decision to deny and say he needed this? It was like a secretary and a retired gynecologist. And I'm like, what do they have to do that they think they would know better for my son than his own doctor? Like, that doesn't even make sense. So what Ben was saying is very important. Like, that kind of stuff we go and talk to our legislators. It can only help us. It can't hurt us. So, and the more people that show up, the louder it seems. But thank you.
Hello, my name's Abby. At the start of any speech, they ask you to provide an introduction to identify who you are and what brings you into this space. For a long time, I worked for my title, Abby Pike, LPCA. My name's Abby, and I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor, or more commonly known, a therapist. Mental health is an enormous part of my identity, and it has been for a long time. From logging a 2,000 hours of clinical work, wearing supportive sweatshirts around the office, I've advocated for the importance of finding stability and growth in every facet of my life, while learning how to create safety for clients who come to me for professional help. I knew that no matter who walked into my office, that I had the skills to help them achieve this as well. But 3 years ago, I started experiencing joint pain. It was minor pain at first, the kind that you might brush off as having pushed yourself too far the day before. Then came the dizzy spells, the heart palpitations, maybe brushed off as anxiety or an anxious day. Only I knew about anxiety, and I knew this wasn't anything I had studied or experienced, heard in my office. This wasn't something you could remedy with journaling, talking, or even medication. And believe me, I tried. And that is what prompted me to begin my search for answers at hospitals. Their offices did not look like mine. There were no fidget toys, no weighted blankets, no aspirational posters, and the lights were very bright and fluorescent, unlike my nice dimmed ones in my office. I navigated an unknown world, walking down fluorescent halls with my forearm crutches to stabilize me. The world of physical health was foreign to me. All that I really found there were doctors who, despite their best efforts, didn't have answers to give me. Any further testing was not accessible to me due to expenses or availability. I ended up on a lot of wait lists and then kicked off. My symptoms progressed. My joints would pop out of place constantly. Stairs were causing me to faint daily, and the fatigue of everyday activities became debilitating. I ended up having to opt out of a lease early because I was unable to make it into my wife and I's home on the second floor. Downing salt packets left and right, which is a wild thing we do with dysautonomia, because my cardiologist shared it would help. I did not believe her at first, because who does that? But it did, weirdly. And my joints, they would be out of place for hours. It was very weird and strange and painful and scary, to be honest with you. And just often was able to just not make it through my days without crying from exhaustion. I struggled immensely with the thought of this being the rest of my life. As a therapist, I've always tried to take the glass half full approach with optimism and light, but on a morning that I couldn't stand, I realized there was no water in my cup at all, and a hole had formed in the bottom, and it leaked out all of my energy. How could I pour into clients when my own cup was empty, and how could I pour into my loved ones, again, when it was empty? Eventually, a diagnosis brought a name, but it would never bring a cure. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, dysautonomia, and mast cell activation syndrome. I began to hate my body, I was angry, and the resentment began to poison my mind. I was at war with myself, and I was losing quickly. Until on a whim, I decided to attempt swimming at my local pool. I liked to swim, and it didn't hurt. For the first time, I was able to exercise in a way that didn't hurt me, and I decided to stay in the pool. In that water, I felt proud and weightless, which allowed me to swim farther. With swimming farther, I felt stronger, and I was mentally at ease and relieved. When I felt this, though, I noticed that my muscles weren't as tense, and I was able to leave the pool without falling down after. And in this moment, I knew how intertwined these parts of me were. I realized there was a bridge connecting mental health and physical health. I embraced my choice to begin crossing it and begin navigating. I began going to my own therapy with a chronic illness specialist, while also seeing my own clients as a therapist to process my diagnosis, my life, what it is. I finished my formal education, and I have been seeing clients ever since. My diagnosis came while I was in my graduate school internship. It was a great time. The body that I thought had given up on me was actually carrying me through a journey that I know I wouldn't have picked for myself, but I was going to make it mine. All I needed to do was to look at myself with compassion and understanding and heal my mind while being gentle with my body. Mental health is physical health. I know this is true when somebody recognizes my pain, when I can help and find resources that alleviate the cost of medical care for myself or my peers. And when I find communities, such as these, that talk openly about this experience of rare disease and disability. Physical health is mental health, and I know this is the truth when I practice deep breathing or meditation, when I take breaks in my day guilt-free, sometimes, to treat my symptoms, when I join community swim classes, or even when I sit in my wheelchair and then I'm able to stand up at a rare disease day gathering. This revelation has not just impacted me, but has brought to light on a larger scale the need for collaboration within the field of mental health and physical health. Caring for ourselves is not optional. The amount of energy and patience we have as humans with rare diseases and what we have to give is simply not the level that many of us would like. As our cup leaks, no matter how hard we try to fill it up, there is still something inherently leaving our body, spirit, and mind. Honoring this, we know that self-care is not optional. We know that taking care of our health in all of its aspects is vital, and caring for our mental health is our opportunity to gift ourselves a patch for our cups so we can pour into others, ourselves, and everybody around us. My hope is to share the message that our mental health is the pinnacle of our overall health picture and can directly affect our physical pain. The amount of energy we have in a day and our overall general sense of well-being and even thriving, which I promise is possible some days. Therapy and mental wellness are a blessing to those of us who seek support in all areas of our life, an opportunity to seal the crack in our cup so we may overflow, to gently whisper to our bodies that we understand it's not their fault, and to connect our body and mind in a way that illuminates possibility and fosters confidence. Our health and well-being matter, and we all deserve wellness that this world has to offer. Thank you very much for giving me your time, hearing me speak, and enjoying this event. I have some infographics on our table back there that include more on my practice, which is a private clinic in Louisville, and I work with 3 other beautiful women who would be happy to help. And yeah, thank you very much.
What she said is very important. You have to take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, there's no way possible. Your energy is going to run out. Your spoons are going to run out to be able to help take care of your family, your loved ones, and things like that. So we are going to do another giveaway now. Make sure people were paying attention. How many rare diseases have been identified, roughly? Ben.
6,000.
Yep, you got another one.
Hi, my name is Melissa. and I'm the partner and primary caregiver of someone with rare diseases. Caregiving is no joke, y'all. It's a full-time job. Caregivers put our own lives on the back burner to make sure our loved ones get their basic needs met. Without the state-funded resource of the Home and Community-Based Services Waiver, which provides a full-time direct support professional, I would be out of the workforce. I wouldn't be here today. I would be unable to support our household financially and unable to contribute to Kentucky's economy. My partner, Katie Ryan, is first and foremost a light in this world. Her ready laughter is joy-filled, expansive, and contagious. Her wisdom is a guiding force, and her spirit is indomitable. Everyone who meets her instantly falls in love with her. Before the onset of her illnesses, she was a dancer, a photographer, and an organizational development specialist. Now she spends all of her time and energy battling ME, POTS, MCAS, and hEDS. Because of these conditions, she spends the majority of her time reclined. She uses a power wheelchair when she's able to venture out of the house, which is normally only for medical appointments or a family dinner every few weeks. Too much exertion, whether that be physical, cognitive, emotional, or sensory, can cause severe neuroimmune exhaustion. A bad crash can leave her unable to speak, move, or tolerate light or sound. So she has to carefully manage how she spends her energy. To go to a medical appointment outside the house, she has to save up energy for a couple days and spend a couple days recovering. After a phone call with a friend, she has to lay down and cover her eyes for an hour. In spite of all that, she's an advocate for disabled rights. She hosts an online support group for disabled folks to talk about human rights. She does endless research to better understand her conditions and then educates her doctors and connects them to one another so they can do their jobs better. And she wants her voice to be heard here today, even though she can't be here in person because she's recovering from medical travel. So I'm here to deliver her message. This is what she wanted you all to hear. After the pandemic and contracting COVID, a few things developed in my life. One, I contracted the most common rare disease you've never heard of, myalgic encephalomyelitis, or ME. COVID exacerbated and caused multiple co-occurring lifelong chronic illnesses. And third, realizing how short life really is, I developed an inability to suffer through small talk any longer. So right to the point. People with myalgic encephalomyelitis have a worse quality of life score than a person with colon cancer or severe depression. ME is more debilitating than many chronic diseases, including multiple sclerosis, chronic renal failure, congestive heart failure, lung cancer, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Around 75% of people with ME are unable to work, and 1/4 are homebound or bedbound. Since COVID, those numbers are increasing. ME costs the U.S. between $18 and $51 billion in lost productivity and medical costs each year. But it's not for lack of motivation or not wanting to participate in life. It's a funding issue. How does funding affect this? ME is 3 to 6 times more prevalent than MS. However, ME gets funded at $5 per patient compared to MS's $255 per patient. This means that there are 0 FDA-approved treatments, no targeted medicine, a complete lack of doctor education, and countless patients that are not diagnosed, misdiagnosed, or flat out ignored, left to get worse, suffer, or die. The lack of research funding also means that recovery rates are at about 5% or less, and there are fewer than 24 nationally recognized experts in the U.S. to diagnose and treat 3 to 6 million people, and counting because of COVID. I want to live. It's a mind-boggling concept, more than I ever could have imagined, that strangers at the local, state, and federal level are responsible for my ability to live, to fix this. The point, I matter. To myself, to the people who love me, and my community. That's not up for debate by strangers. What's also true is that our systems are set up in a way that leads to failure. I have an advanced education, and I struggled to gain access to the programs my taxes have funded through the duration of my career that I thought would be here to catch me if anything were to happen, not realizing that it would happen so soon in my life. But I'm not letting this illness kill me. And I sure won't let the systems do it either. That's why I'm speaking out. Our scientific and healthcare systems rely on our representatives to be excellent stewards for vulnerable populations, including those disabled by illness. Resources like the Home and Community-Based Services Waiver Program, disability, direct support caregiving professionals, Medicaid, and telehealth services mean more to our family than you can imagine. We need our elected leaders to fight for these programs like their lives depend on them, because our lives do. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. And I got to give a shout out to Melissa. She has helped us on the nonprofit side with walking us through like grants and different things like that. So she's been a great resource. I really appreciate you. Like you have helped us so much. And I'm sorry we missed Katie Ryan today. Hopefully we'll get to see her in the future. Hopefully she recovers well from her medical travels. Our next speaker is Kayla, finally. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kayla, and I'm here to share a story I never imagined would be mine. A story shaped by strength I didn't know I had, struggles I never asked for, and the reality of living with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. My journey began back in 2017 with what I thought was just a migraine, but it wasn't the kind of migraine that you sleep off or push through. It was a kind of pain that settled in and refused to leave. This one symptom was the start of a life I never saw coming. What started as a simple migraine quickly spiraled into breathing issues, fainting spells, visual disturbances, extreme joint pain, heart issues, GI issues, and many other symptoms I couldn't even describe. Every single day felt like a new battle with a body that was slipping further and further out of my control. While all this was happening, life around me kept moving on. From 2017 to 2024, while my peers were laughing through school dances, making memories, and building their core years, I struggled to keep my head above water. To most people, I appear perfectly normal, but behind that appearance was a world no one saw. Behind closed doors, I lived in a world filled with hospital rooms, unanswered questions, and days when getting out of bed simply wasn't possible. My life became a cycle of symptoms without answers. I've gone through every test imaginable, MRIs, blood work, scans, and every single one of them came back normal. At first, the word normal felt confusing. Then it was heartbreaking. And then eventually, it was dismissed. The doctors stopped looking deeper, they stopped considering possibilities, and worst of all, they stopped believing in me. The pain was real, the fainting was real. The sleepless nights, the panic, the fear that my body was slipping out of my control. It was all real. I heard a lot of phrases like, "You're fine," "It's probably anxiety," or "It's all in your head," far more often than anyone fighting for their health should ever hear. When the doctors stopped believing in me, I felt myself slowly starting to stop as well. I've never felt more invisible or alone than I did during those years. When you're young and sick, people don't expect your symptoms to be real. But when you push through them silently, people assume you're fine. But then, one episode of America's Got Talent changed everything. My mom was watching America's Got Talent, and a singer shared her rare disability that felt like she had been reading my life story. It was the first time that I heard someone say out loud the things that I've been dealing with silently for years. From that day on, I made a promise to myself that I would never stop fighting until someone finally listened to me. Receiving my diagnosis didn't just give me clarity, but it gave me power. For years, I moved through the world feeling disconnected from my body. I was never fully able to participate in school, friendships, or the moments that were supposed to shape who I was. I felt like I was always on the outside, looking in, trying to keep up with a body that refused to cooperate in a healthcare system that has failed me for so many years. But suddenly everything had a name. My pain had context, my symptoms had meaning, and for the first time I had a name to describe what was happening to me. This gave me power. This gave me power to understand myself without blaming myself. It gave me power to advocate for what I needed without feeling guilty, and it truly opened my eyes up to others that might be silently struggling just like I had been. This diagnosis didn't fix everything, but it truly transformed the way I move through the world. It's made me more aware, more empathetic, and more engaged with the people around me. When you spend years fighting to be heard, you learn how important it is to truly listen to others, and how vital it is for patients to have their voices be taken seriously. That's why moments like today matter, because giving someone a diagnosis isn't just about naming a condition. It's about giving them access to themselves, to a community, and to a life where they don't have to fight alone. So that's why I'm here today. If sharing my story allows even one person to feel seen, less alone, or understood, then every tear, every struggle, and every sleepless night becomes something bigger than pain. It becomes purpose. Because yes, this journey can be lonely, but look around. Look at the people who stand beside you. You are not alone, and together we are stronger than anything this illness can ever throw at us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla. And just wanted to say that anybody else who's interested in possibly speaking in the future, we have a sign-up sheet in the back. Put your name down, and we will contact you. We will send emails and things like that, and you let us know that if there's anything that you want to be a part of. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? It is good to see everyone together in community. I'm currently 32. I have been a vasculitis patient since I was 12. So for 20 years, I've been living with a rare disease, and as you can imagine, I've had my fair share of issues with it. As a child, people were compassionate, and it was a place that people showed up for me. When I switched to adult care, that was markedly different. Suddenly I was too young to have the illness I had for 8 years. And then I had a lot of emotions, so it was go home and feel sorry for yourself in your own bed, which was my favorite to date quote that I've had from a physician. I don't see him any longer. And I've learned to advocate for myself. Because I don't look sick or I don't behave in a sick enough way. I've had a lot of people think that or have an opinion about whether or not it's justified that I have the support or accommodations that I need in my life. To a lot of other people's points, the hospital visits, missing events due to my disease or complications or treatments, no shortage of feeling left out and isolated, misunderstood, and in some appointments disrespected on just a basic human level. To a lot of what other people said, this is not only a drain on our body, but it's a drain on our mind. It's isolating. We don't have the community that, to your point, that Melissa, that other people they don't realize that we don't have access to it. And then we have trying to weigh out whether or not side effects are acceptable, what is and isn't tolerable, how much we disclose or how much we agree or allow people to know about us. I had a lot of problems, and I was on a chemotherapy drug, and I ended up with sepsis in 2018 for the second time. At that point, I medically retired. I haven't patented that, but you're welcome to use it. And I had to adapt to the life that I thought that I would have leaving. And for some people with rare diseases, they're able to live or put in a situation where they're able to live in a more accessible life, but for some of us that's not attainable, and the world isn't created for us to exist, or the systems or the insurances, that kind of stuff. It's not accessible, and that's why a big part of these events, Kellie and Emily, are so important. And I had created in 2018 a rare disease support group, but I didn't want it to be just like my rare disease because like it's kind of difficult at that point. So I created a chronic illness alliance and we had a support group, and then we grew that into a nonprofit, and then COVID happened. And so it was another casualty. 24-hour Walmart's not a thing. Like, we weren't able to do that. And so I was introduced to the Independence Seekers Project, which is a Louisville-based nonprofit as well. And we were working to get together and offer support and a care web and a care network for individuals with different disabilities and different illnesses that need community and togetherness. And that is one thing that I feel like with my GPA has been my passion, is to make other people not feel the way that I have. And I have more information on a lot of different things that we offer. I'm really grateful for Kellie and Emily again for allowing me the space to speak, and I hope that we can all work together. It is a legislative session for policy for Medicaid waivers. I can't recall his name, but back there, he talked about that. And you can go talk to the legislators. That's what my boss is doing right now, because these waivers, making it accessible to have people like in-home care, it saves the community money. It makes life accessible for the families, like Melissa said. So it's very important to get your word out and your voice heard. So thank you for the time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you to Mia. And I just wanted to make sure and tell everyone, absolutely, go speak to your legislators. It is important. Contact Mia if you need anything. Talk to her. We're going to talk after this and stuff. There'll be time after. Talk to Ben, talk to me, Emily, Robert, any of us. And if we don't know, we will find someone who knows the answer to your question. So, and our next person speaking is Christy. Come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? I don't do well on podiums being vertically challenged either, to be quite honest with you. My name is Christy, and I actually represent the infusion industry. I am a registered dietitian by background. I have worked in the infusion industry for a little over 20 years. That being said, much of what you are going to hear me kind of mention and talk through today are many things that all of our speakers have touched on. My hope for you today is that, honestly, I'm going to give you a little bit of perspective from a healthcare provider's perspective, because as a healthcare professional, I believed I understood the impact of illness. I understood treatment plans, clinical outcomes, and care pathways. But quite honestly, I did not truly understand the depth of living with a rare condition until I honestly had the privilege to work alongside and walk alongside individuals and families who live with it day in and day out. Watching people navigate uncertainty, advocate for themselves, and show up with strength and grace changed me. It changed how I listen, it changed how I practice, and it changed how I challenge my colleagues to really see the person and not a diagnosis. My experiences taught me this. It taught me resilience is not just surviving, it is continuing to show up with hope, particularly when the journey is hard. Resilience varies person to person, right? Sometimes it's simply making it through an appointment and that long journey. Sometimes it's finding courage to speak up when something just does not feel right. And sometimes it's resilience to just rest and giving yourself permission for that rest. Living with a rare condition requires strength most people will never truly see. It requires patience during long diagnostic journeys. It requires adaptability in treatment changes, and it requires trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your care team, and a belief that your voice matters. This brings us to advocacy. Advocacy is very powerful. Advocacy is asking questions to make informed decisions. Advocacy is patients knowing that they are the true experts of their own body. And advocacy is caregivers standing in when someone is tired, when someone is overwhelmed, or just unsure. And advocacy is healthcare professionals committing to listen, truly listening to a lived experience. When a patient and caregivers advocate, outcomes improve. When medical teams partner with patients, trust grows, and when voices are heard, care becomes human. No one should have to navigate a rare disease alone. Patient advocacy organizations and foundations, as we have all mentioned today, they provide connection, they provide education, and they provide peer support. This can look like many things. Care coordination teams helping families navigate complex healthcare systems. It can look like mental health, wellness resources, and they help remind us that emotional well-being matters just as much as our physical well-being. Financial assistance programs, they provide and help reduce the burden of treatment costs. And for those needing chronic conditions that do require infusion therapies, the infusion community is essential. Infusion therapies often are life-sustaining, and they can be offered in alternate sites of care. Home infusion is one site of care that you can receive your infusion therapies. Home infusion and receiving your infusion at home brings complex treatments to an area of comfort, offering flexibility and helping give you an opportunity to improve quality of life. Home infusion therapy is where I had the opportunity to learn many of the lessons that I shared with all of you earlier. Other sites of care include ambulatory infusion centers and ambulatory infusion sites. Infusion nurses, pharmacists, technicians, registered dietitians, pharmacy support teams, including account management teams, they develop long-term relationships with their patients as they walk alongside them through years of treatment. These professionals do more than administer therapy. They are extensions of the care team, becoming trusted care partners. They often provide consistency, education, and compassion, and they witness progress, setbacks, and resilience firsthand. Working in home infusion, as I had mentioned, is where I learned those very valuable lessons that I had mentioned earlier. Use home infusion and infusion teams as added value for you. Rare disease reminds me that progress happens when we stand together. Every story shared will build understanding, every resource creates access, and every voice amplified strengthens this community. To those living with rare and chronic conditions, your strength, your voice, and your experience matters. You changed me. For caregivers, your advocacy, sacrifice, and unwavering support do not go unnoticed. And to healthcare professionals, let's keep learning. Acting with empathy, we must remember our impact is how we support those that are living with rare conditions and that we help. As we leave here today, let this not be the end of conversation, but let this be the beginning of action. I encourage all of us to walk away with 3 simple actions. Let's listen more intentionally. Let's share resources with someone who may need it. Knowledge is power. Never hesitate to share information about a foundation, a support group, an infusion service, or an educational tool. And lastly, let's commit to be using our voice to open doors for access, understanding, and compassionate care. I leave you with this today. Awareness creates understanding. Understanding creates empathy. And empathy, when paired with action, will change lives. Progress is not made by one person alone, but in a community as we stand together. So, let's move forward, committed to being resilient, committed to being advocates, and committing to ensure that no one navigates rare disease ever feels unseen or unsupported. Thank you for being a part of this community that proves that when a disease is rare, compassion, resilience, and hope are universal. Finally, thank you to the event coordinators and to all of you for being present. Your contributions and transformation are transforming awareness into meaningful impact, both today and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for coming all this way.
Thank you.
And we wanted to make sure that the group of people we had speaking wasn't just, people living with rare diseases and telling their stories, but also resources that somebody might be able to utilize in the rare disease community. So, and on that note, our last speaker is Christina. I'll put this back out.
Hello, glad to see such a big group here today. I stand here today as both a physician and a patient. I live with hypermobile EDS, POTS, and MCAS, and like so many of you, my journey hasn't been straightforward. Years of symptoms that didn't quite fit, appointments where I struggled to explain what my body was doing, moments where I questioned myself, when I wondered if it maybe really was just stress. Rare disease can feel isolating. It can feel like you're speaking a different language inside your own body. I know what it feels like to sit in an exam room and struggle to put invisible symptoms into words. I know how exhausting it can feel to advocate for yourself when you're already so depleted. But somewhere along the way, that isolation turned into a purpose. I wanted to understand what was happening, not just to me, but to so many of us. That desire led me to study biomedical engineering, and then I decided to go to medical school, and now I'm about to complete my internal medicine residency, now at Indiana University, and I'm going to start my cardiology fellowship. But the most important education out of all those 11 years that were going on hasn't been received in a classroom. It's been from patients. From the person who drives hours out of state for a specialist appointment, from the parent who becomes their child's full-time researcher and advocate, from the young adult trying to build a life around symptoms that no one can see. Living with a chronic illness teaches you resilience that you never asked to learn. It teaches you empathy, and it teaches you strength. We are not fragile, we are not weak, and we are not defined by what our bodies cannot do. And we deserve better. Better research, better education, better access, better listening. My goal as a physician isn't just to treat complex conditions. It's to create spaces where patients can feel seen and heard, and most of all, believed. Where complexity is respected. Where rare does not mean dismissed. So today, I don't just want to raise awareness. I want us to recognize the power in this room. Power in lived experience, power in persistence, power in partnership. Every person here carries a story of resilience. Not loud, dramatic resilience, but steady, everyday courage. The kind that shows up to appointments, the kind that keeps asking questions, the kind that continues to hope. While our conditions may be rare, we are not alone. There is strength in this community, there is wisdom here, and there's momentum. We are not just surviving rare disease, we are shaping the future of how it's understood and how it's treated. And I'm proud to stand here, not separate from this community, but as part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. She was in our group. That's the connection. I'm like thrilled that she decided to go to medical school.
With having a nonprofit comes fundraising, and Melissa has been an amazing resource for me. When doing a new thing, you need confidence, and she has been a pillar of confidence for me She texts me periodically telling me that I know you have a heart for this. I know you have a passion for this. Like, I know this is something that is going to go somewhere. So, Kentucky Giving Day is May 12th. That is an online event. Well, it's all online. So it's an online thing where it is a platform where nonprofits share all of their information, and local people can get on there and donate to local nonprofits. And the next slide. And there is also Give for Good Louisville. That is one close to home to us, and there are many amazing nonprofits doing amazing things. And that day is September 10th. So save these dates because they're important. If you are not able to donate, you might know someone who can, and it makes a massive, massive impact. A lot of these nonprofits have small funds and a large need. So it's really, really important.
Even if you can't donate, share the nonprofit, share it with all your people, because they might be able to donate something to it.
I met him about 5 years ago, and you can look into his story, but briefly, he created Normalite because his son had an illness and it made him consistently dehydrated. So he's explained the science to me a million times, but basically it helps you rehydrate your body. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong,
He's a pharmacist.
there's two of the packets equal like one
bag
IV bag.
It's either 2 or 4.
So either way, Normalite has been able to keep me out of the hospital. So several times I will have a POTS episode and have to just go to the ER for fluids, and it's a waste of time, waste of money. And when a POTS episode happens, it is like a consistent cycle, a consistent loop where you get dehydrated and you just...
All your electrolytes are out of whack, and then it keeps you in that loop.
And it's hard to get back on track. So this is a quick, safe, easy way to rehydrate at home. As a nonprofit person, I want to make sure that I only partner with people that have the same mission that I do, the same passion that I do, that truly care about people, because it is not about money for me. It is all about truly helping people. And Sam is someone who, the moment that I met him, I knew that he truly cared about people. He truly wanted to help people. Anytime I work with him, he is giving free samples to everyone. He wants
boxes and boxes of free samples.
He wants every single person to feel better. So this is a way to rehydrate yourself, and we have a 30% off code.
There's little coupon tickets back there too that you can take so you can remember the code.
If you have mast cell, they have a pure form if you're sensitive to artificial flavors or colors. So that's a great option that he was keeping in mind when creating this.
Yeah, they use his packets they sent overseas to help with the Ebola outbreak, to help rehydrate the people more cost effectively and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He sent it all for free. Like, he's an amazing person, and he just wants people to feel better. So we were super happy to be able to work with him.
I'm kind of like in charge of kids 8 and under, so I will do like, okay, moms, we're going to meet at the park, we're going to paint together, different things. That way we have more accessibility with things. We're not strapped to having to drop our kid off at school. Our kids have meltdowns every time they come home. It's very overwhelming when your body doesn't do what it's supposed to do when you're a little kid. The volunteers, we cannot even express how thankful we are for our volunteers. Everyone wanted to take their own time, their own money to make this event what it is. Like, we really, really appreciate it. Sponsors as well. All of these people, I've been like overwhelmed by the amount of emails and support that I've received. Monetarily, it's like over $1,000, literally. And we would like everyone to get together to take a picture out front. Because it means a lot to us that we were all here today. We understand it's difficult for a lot of people with rare conditions to make it here with the weather. A lot of people traveled far distances, so we would love to get a group picture together.
Smiles on faces, we put smiles on